Hello, everybody. Grady, Polcyn here, Family First Live America. Excited to be sitting here with my main man, Ryan Reynolds of Tempe, Arizona. Yes, the applause.
Look at that crowd we got, right?
Big crowd, big crowd. Awesome. So, Ryan and I, so let me back up, and then we'll back up even more. Ryan is a 20-plus, nearly 30K producer with us, focused on building a team. But this is Ryan's second go-around at building an agency.
It's actually the third.
The third go-around at building an agency.
Third go-around,
So
yeah.
Ryan and I have been friends since, 10, 15 years. We've known each other since high school, essentially, or the...
Back when we were derelicts, yeah.
Yes, back in, we're both from a small town in northern Arizona. And what's interesting is, here's the funny thing. I started recruiting by posting Craigslist ads in Phoenix. And all of a sudden, I get a message from this guy, Ryan, over here, and he goes, "Hey, are you with Family First?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, interesting." And like acting like I didn't know that he knew that I saw him, that I posted a Craigslist ad, but he was tactfully trying to like not let me know that he knew.
No, I saw you on Facebook.
Or he saw me. Okay, so he sees me on Facebook.
I was like, my buddy's an agent? No.
But I wasn't working with him. I was working at Family First, and he's at this other place. And so, long story short, we courted each other back and forth, and we'll get into it more, but Ryan's recently made the decision to come over here and work with us at FFL, and I'd like to, that's kind of the goal of this call today, is to educate you on, one, the value and quality and opportunity that FFL has, but at the same standpoint, Ryan's issue paid probably north of $3 million in his career as an insurance agent, and he's going to do some training for us on some in-home phone skills, things that help us all learn how to get better and become better producers and insurance agents. But without further ado, happy to introduce you, my main man, Ryan Reynolds.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me on. Just surreal to actually be here, man. Just before we started, we were cracking up because it's funny what you built. It's pretty cool. Look at the studio, like the agency you built. It's unreal.
It's unreal. I pinch myself constantly.
Yeah.
But bigger picture and everything is, it's exciting to have you here, because I remember when it was my third month and we'd been kind of playfully courting each other, and you're like, "Come over here and work here," and I was like, "I think I got a pretty good thing here. I don't know how it's all going to turn out." And I did like 30K my third month, and I was like, I feel like this is good. Again, you got your own, like you had your own office back then, and all these agents, and you had a whole thing going, but you were selfless in your help with me, and you taught me about control on the phone. You taught me about the confirmation number. So if any of you guys use a confirmation number when you're dialing, perfect. Now go ahead and grab a pen. You taught me this. Make him go get a pen. And I was like, okay. So John, I need you to go get a pen. What for? Well, I got to give you your confirmation number just to make sure that we get the right information out to you. Okay, perfect. 9W47. Did you write that down? Can you read it back to me? And then you taught me how to do that. And I taught that to FFL, and they thought I was smart, but reality was you were the smart one, teaching me all your decade of tricks.
Well, I want to talk about that too. And it's kind of interesting. So when I first started, I didn't have FFL, training podcasts. I didn't have daily calls. I didn't have, the conferences to go to, to build your confidence. Like my training was literally come in, watch these people dial, and then you had to write your own script. And so that really makes you learn a lot, because I've probably written scripts like, I've changed up my script maybe like 1,000 times, and they all work, right? But as you're writing it, you're getting rebuttals. You're constantly thinking like, okay, well, that rebuttal came, so now I got to think about doing this first, so that stops from happening. And I got to think about this. So by not having, someone to train me, it really made me really think logically about why is this happening and how do I stop it from happening, right? So when it came to that objection, I was just constantly like, I want to remember it. It's like, hey, you can grab a pen, write this down, it's gonna be for information. And people are constantly going, it's cool, man, I'll remember it. No worries, I'll be there, right? So I was like, how do I do this, right? So it's like, okay, what if I just try this? Like, the people get confirmation codes all the time. Like, that makes sense to me, because my job at the in-home is to verify who they are. Why wouldn't the insurance company want me to verify the person I talked to is the person at the door, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I need to have a confirmation code. The confirmation code can be the same each time.
Correct.
Right? Mine was 7W52, just because it was easy to understand. I wasn't doing like B's, C's, and T's, right? Okay. They all sound the same, right? Yeah. And so that just worked. As soon as I did it, like, hey, I need you to grab a pen for confirmation code, every single person did it. I've never had one single person say no unless they're like driving, But other than that, they'd all grab a pen. So I was like, problem solved. So getting rid of objections is just trying to tweak things and practicing back and forth. And unfortunately, I didn't have a super company like FFL with the training. So I kind of had to figure it out. So I was kind of forced to think about it and try to think, how can I solve this problem, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so, okay, I want to get into more training, but I want to go back a little bit farther. So back up and walk us through your, you know, you got introduced to the industry, how that went. I mean, and then we can talk about your transition to us, but talk to us about that, your previous, you know, time I mean, you were highly successful, top producer at the companies you've worked at, but then came over here. Talk to us about that life, and then maybe kind of what you saw here, what helped you make the leap.
Yeah. So
how'd you get into it? Let's go back. I would love the people to learn about you.
Yeah. So started off, didn't know anything about insurance or sales in general. Actually, I didn't even want to get into sales. I had a fear of it. Like, I was actually doing video production and trying to hire salespeople to start a hotel network, where I'd basically have advertisements and try to hire salespeople to go out and sell. But I was terrified to call people on the phone and set an appointment or even present. So I wanted to hire sales guys. But then that never worked out. So I was like, okay, do the thing you fear. The death of fear is certain, right? Do the thing you fear, then death of fear is certain. So I was like, okay, if I just do this for like 3 months, even I freaking hate sales. I hate it, and it's scary, and I don't want to do it. But if I just do it and force myself, then at least I can do this sales part for video production, because I had this whole business plan. I was going to do it, blah, 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 blah. Went into it, and I got to tell you, like, I've never seen a dialer in my life as bad as me. Like, literally, like shaking, like, on the phone. Like, people were just hanging up right away, and I was dialing these really old leads at 50% commission, like year-old leads, just hang up. And at the time, I was a smoker. It was like after every call, I had to go and have a smoke. It's like, so I went through like a whole pack in like an hour because I was so nervous. So I'm telling you guys that if I can figure out how to become a master dialer, the only thing stopping you is you, 100%. So that's kind of how it started off. No training, and literally training was like, okay, you're going to go to these appointments, and then you're going to basically ask these medical questions, and then you're going to call me. And there's no opening, no training, no guidance, no e-apps, no nothing. And so the first 5, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was so nervous because there's no structure. Like, I didn't know what to do. And then all he would tell me to do, which is, this part's smart. I like this. He said, hey, if they don't buy right then and there, then you have to get up and just go to your next appointment. That's just what you do. And it's almost because I didn't know any different. That's what I would do. So the first week I did 0. The next week I went out, and every time I would just go, okay, I got this option. And they go, I don't know, we need to think about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I start packing up my stuff, putting my bag on, like, wait, where are you going? Like, can I get your business card? And I'm like, looking at him, like, telling him, like, no, we don't do that. Like, I go to my next appointment. What do you mean? Like, I don't come back. Like, that's what I was told. But I believed it so much but people just kept going, hey, sit down. Okay, we'll go ahead and do this right now. I started closing. Like, that was my close. I was just packing up because I didn't know any different. And people were like, no, sit down. I mean, if you can't come back, like, we can't call you again. Like, okay, we'll get one, dude. You're playing tough. I was like, no, I'm not trying to play tough. Like, this is how my job works. You know, why would I come back? I've already done everything, right? And that's exactly the mentality that actually works for the people that are closing now. So it's almost like by not getting trained, I almost already had it. And the people that are closing now already have that. It's like, why would I come back, right? It doesn't make any sense. I've done my job.
We're doing it or we're not.
Yeah, I've done my job already, right? It doesn't make any sense. Think about what?
Yeah.
You know, either you get it or you don't. Like, which one is it going to be?
That's good.
You know? So that was kind of interesting. I did $3,000, and then the next week I did $6,000, and I didn't even know if that was good. And Brian's like, dude, you're killing it. I'm like, what's $6,000 good? But at the time I was like, this is like $3,000 to me because I was at 50% commission, plus, like, on top of that, like $2,000. And $2,000 to me at the time was like a big deal. I was like, dude, I am rich. Like, holy cow. Like, I'm going to go back into video production. Like, I was getting paid like $1,000 to do a video because I didn't know how to sell myself for like 50 hours of work and some high quality stuff. And now I'm getting like $2,000. Like,
how'd you find it? Was it an ad, or a buddy referred you, or?
Yeah, it was one of my buddies was in it.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I need to make some more money, learn sales. There's only 2 things you can do. You can be a mortgage broker, or you can go into insurance. And at the time, it wasn't like the money that you see here. It was like 50,000 was like what you would do as an agent. I thought that was a big deal.
It's crazy.
You know? Now you see what people are doing here. Like, they're like, oh, I do 50,000 like in a month. And you're like, what? Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. So okay. So you progressed, started building a team, and business goes up and down, right? Found your way through the career. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, you're still in it. You're successful, healthy career. I would love if you would talk a little bit about leads too, because you've seen so many different lead types, and we've got so many the different lead availability here. What's your mentality on leads?
All leads are good leads, right? What I've learned in all my years, it's pretty simple. A great analogy is like in the backyard, let's imagine there's some gold buried, right? And you got to find it. If you buy a cheaper lead, you're going to find the gold, but it's like you have a garden shovel, right? It's like maybe like a $3 lead. It's like, I'm digging. I'll throw a lot of dirt out, right? But I'm going to find the gold, okay? And then if you have a more expensive lead, it's kind of like having like a backhoe. Like you're just going to find it faster. It's kind of what I've noticed. But the same results are there. It's just more time on the phone getting through some no's to get the yeses, right? But all leads that I've noticed, it's all the same. Like when I've kind of tried to test out like your return on investment, they all kind of work out the same. So like if you spend, I think the average is about 500%. So like, it's pretty simple math. Sometimes people are like, why am I not making the money these guys are making? It's like, okay, well, you can spend $100 and make 500, 1,000 and make 5,000, 2,000, make 10,000. It's just simple. You spend more gold to find, and then you make more money.
That's true.
But it is the lifeblood, for sure. Leads, for sure.
Got it. Okay. So fast forward, then you recently come over to us. Now, I'd love, without respectfully with your past, but I'd love to hear, why a guy who's been in the industry for 10 years, successful, right? It wasn't like he's, was, combing the back pages of Craigslist trying to scrape together,
He's making good money. Yeah.
He's making great money.
6 figures. Yeah.
Great money for years, owns houses, successful, has investments. What brought you to FFL after all this time?
Honestly, it's you. It was literally you, man. I was following you for 3 years, and a couple of quick things. Like when I tried to build a team a couple times, it was all by myself. So I was creating, the video welcoming page. I was creating the training page. I was doing all the calls. And it was really exhausting to do on your own, and you just can't give everyone enough time. So family first, the strategy that I saw that was really amazing is that, and I was been following Family First because I'm always curious about everything. I mean, even when I was driving one of their appointments, I was listening to Family First podcast like 5 years ago and a bunch of others, but I always kind of liked Family First the best because of their attitude, very grateful attitude, giving attitude, that sort of thing. So I always really liked Family First Life a lot. And when you came on board and then I saw how successful, how quickly you blew up, I noticed that the difference was that I didn't have to do everything myself. And I noticed that even in the 3 years you've been doing this, they're bringing in more quality people. So the ideas are spreading and the wealth is spreading, the knowledge is spreading. It's just kind of speeding up. And that's a lot harder to do on your own. So if I wanted to grow, I knew that Family First was the place where I could grow, where I could bring in a new agent and he's going to have a lot more support because we have so many managers doing different calls, come up with new ideas, come up with better video things, you creating certain things and then Andrew creating certain things and, Joe Smo creating certain things and just new people keep creating more things that all make us better. And as a team, that's really huge, right? So I knew that you could grow faster here than being on my own. That was the major thing. If you want to build a team, like Family First is the only spot to do it.
That'll be a clip. We'll put that on the internet.
It is. I mean, it's just 100%. And I have traveled around. I mean, I've been on the trips. I've talked to the top guys. I mean, I've been flown out, and picked up in town cars and sat with the CEOs of companies trying to recruit me in, right? It's kind of funny because like here, I was a top producer, but I'm not flying in. You're like, dude, you're lucky to come work here. There's no like special treatment, It's like, dude, this company's already rad and awesome. Like you're lucky to be here. So there is no special treatment.
We're grateful to have you here. But I think what I see the way you said that is that like where everyone's creating stuff and giving is that our total mentality is of a state of gratitude, right? Where you said you started in the industry at 50%. There's still most companies still start people at 50%. And you look at FFL and starting comp is 90%, caps out at 145. It's just like So everyone's so appreciative to be here that we're just like, how do I keep sharing and protecting the wholesome situation that we have here? Like if I help you, or I help people from teams from Florida or teams from Colorado or teams from New York or, you know, wherever, like my mentality is like, we're just all, everyone's protecting the situation, right?
Sharing the wealth,
let's share in the wealth, gratitude, grateful. Everyone's making more money than they could possibly imagine. Bringing more people on, that it's like, and that's really, I think that, you know, it's a different way to say what you said, but that's kind of how I see it, that we all just want to help each other continue to grow and win. Because in the end, we maybe have 50,000 contracted agents, but 10 to 15,000 write a policy each month. Some people just, they take the month off. I don't know what they're doing, but, you know, but in that situation, it's understanding that we've got a lot more people that we can bring into our world.
And the work ethic too. I mean, I just think that the energy itself here is motivating. And there's really two factors that make you successful. You know, it's having the perspective, and that's a lot on the sales perspective, the ego perspective. We can jump into that a little bit later, but Family First Life has the right perspective. So it's automatically, by watching the videos and being surrounded by the managers and the leaders, and that trickles down from the top with the Q&As, which is just beautiful. So that perspective is really good here, versus a lot of companies' perspective can be very selfish and like, hey, let's not tell them about this secret that I learned, or not tell someone else about this. But that mentality of actually spreading out knowledge draws people back in, you know, that spirit of giving, which is really what's really cool about here. And then the second thing that makes Family First different than everyone else is everyone's go-getters. You know, like one of my biggest things is I got talent selling, but I don't have a lot of self-discipline. That's really hard for me. But here you just automatically start having, because everyone's just going to get it. And you're like, dude, why am I not? Right?
That's right.
So the motivational factor that Family First has compared to other companies is incredible too. And I think those two things are what you need to be successful, and Family First really brings it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a very spirited, focus-driven, success-laden culture we have here. So, all right. So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't get some sales tips from one of the greatest. And you know, it's interesting you say that, you know, that my success brought you here, but I think it's when you taught me that confirmation code, then I brought it to FFL, and then the company exploded. So some indirect way, we owe you a bunch of overrides for teaching us all that confirmation code back 3 years ago. But
I remember there's a couple other ones too that I said, and then all of a sudden I was listening to one of your podcasts. I was like, well, there went another idea is spreading everywhere.
He teaches me his secrets that I bring him to here. Like,
but that's cool. So I was already kind of part of FFL without being part of it.
You are. Now we're gonna grow that team nice, fast, protect you, put a lot of good people in a good position. But I'd love it if you'd share some of your some sales wisdom, some either how you set up or structure lines, whatever it is that, you know, you really are like, if I don't check these 3 boxes, I know I'm not going to sell. Whatever you've got.
Yeah, and I've done it like a million different times in different ways, and you can go on and watch people dial, and you can see them all say different things. But the one thing I've noticed over the years is that the main concept, the right perspective, is the same throughout all of them, compared to the people that are bad dialers and good dialers. So I think it's really important when we're talking about dialing perspective. If you can just focus on this and understand it, then all your words, your phrasing, the way that you pause, the way you speak will be natural, because you're in the right way of looking at it, right? Same thing with the presentation. It's all about the right perspective. So, you know, I'm kind of teaching this to my guys right now, trying to help them like kind of understand it. Because I think if you can understand this, then really it's not about learning like the right thing to say, because you're going to say the right thing automatically, right? Okay. So the wrong perspective when we first start off, I think, is as a dialer, we start looking at as like, okay, I bought this lead, and I'm probably going to be annoying calling this person doesn't be called, because I want to make money off of them. And I need to convince them to have an appointment. I really hope that they, you know, schedule one with me, or I could be losing some money. And that perspective is true. But if we live in that true perspective, then it makes our job really hard. And we're going to come off being too friendly on the phone, right? We're going to have some pauses. We're going to be trying to convince them, because we're living in the wrong perspective. So I think before you dial, if you can just tell yourself the right way to look at it, then it's going to change everything. And so the right way to look at it is, these guys requested some information, and my only job is to ask them what time they want to get it. Like, only job. Like, it's almost like if they say no to that, or they don't want me coming over, they don't pick a time, like, you're so confused by it. It's like, what do you mean? Like, this is the next step. This is the next step, right? Like, what time do you want? Like, I got Tuesday, I got a 5 or 7. Which one is it? And that's your only job. we're not thinking about anything else. We're not trying to convince them to have an appointment. We're not trying to convince them to have a policy. We know that they're going to pick a time because they've already requested a time. They sent in a mailer saying, I want information. This is how you get it with an appointment. Which time do you want? These are the times I have available, right? So just having that perspective changes it, right? Knowing that the lead doesn't matter about losing money because we know that it's just a numbers game, right? So as long as I just run the numbers and book the appointments, I'm going to make the money back. So just get that out of your head. Like, it's not about trying to make money or sell. You're just trying to set the appointment. That's it. You don't care what happens after that. Now, when we're in the presentation perspective, again, it's like, okay, a lot of new agents are like, I've seen this happen so many times. I'm training people. Like, they just don't believe in it. They're like, oh, I don't think this person's going to die tomorrow. I'm ripping them off, blah, blah, blah. They're looking at it like the client looks at it. A lot of clients, they look at it as, man, I'm going to live till 80 years old, and I'm going to waste this much money if nothing happens. Okay, that's normal, right? Because everyone thinks you're going to live forever. But our perspective is we're selling insurance. We're hedging the bets. That's it, right? We're doing a transfer of wealth to protect the family, right? So the right perspective is, cool, I get it. Yeah, and I hope you live forever, and I hope you never have to lose this. But we're talking about insurance. Like, if you die tomorrow, we're going to have something in place, right? So just getting that perspective of what it is, insurance versus investing. Like, we're insuring if something happens tomorrow, they're protected. I hope they waste money. I want to live forever. Yeah. And I tell the client, hey, I hope you live forever. You never have to use this, but we're hedging our bets with this insurance. And then the second thing is we're not trying to convince them really to have a policy because something already triggered them. They filled out a lead. They asked for an appointment. They set a time. They're in the home, right? So they've already asked for it. We're just understanding that our only job is to find out what policy works for them, helping them pick which policy works. And anytime we don't sell it, we don't close them, or we don't help that family, it's because we didn't ask enough questions to find the policy that works for them. Maybe it was about budget, right? Maybe it wasn't about this need or that. So you got to be kind of curious and try to figure out what policy they want. And that's our only job is. It's not to ask them if they want a policy or not. They already asked for it.
That's awesome.
So if you can have those perspectives, I think all your words, your body language, your pauses, they will naturally change. Your responses will naturally change by changing the way you think of it, how you look at it.
I think, and that's echoes so clear in how when you're touching on the phone, that if you don't do this action, if we don't move forward with this appointment, or we don't move forward with getting some protection in place, confusion sets in. I don't understand, Ryan. I'm sitting in your living room and your kids are right there and you requested the coverage, and when I called, you answered, and then I'm here, and now we're sitting here looking at options, but you need to think about it.
See, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to ignore what they say and just go, look, it's 5 or 7. Like, which one is it? Like, we had to pick one.
Got it.
It's required. So do you want a 5 or 7? I'm going to come over. Like, this is how it's going to be. Like, I don't need to ask you. I don't need to even, like, explain why it's stupid. I'm just telling you, like, I'm ignoring it and going, hey, it's 5, 7, or 8. Okay, you're working. Okay, when do you get off work? Cool. So at 8, and then you work on Tuesday when you get off. Cool. I'm kind of figuring out their schedule, and I'm like, okay. So what we're going to do is put you down for 7 because now I already know that you're available. So go ahead and grab a pen for the confirmation. We're just going to do the 7. Like, I'm just acting like it's standard. Like, this is the step, right? It is. They send in a request. Like, the next step is for us to come out and give them the information. Like, what do you mean? Doesn't make any sense. Like,
do the part where you move the appointment, where you're like, oh, you taught me about how you move appointments when you're like booking them. I can't do this. Oh, I have someone else there.
A moving appointment. I mean,
you're talking on the phone with them, and then
I would drive to appointments like 3.5 hours, and
you book while you're driving.
Book while I was driving, and people would say they're at work, but again, it's having that perspective. Like, I have to do this. Like, my job is to get this information to you. I'm gonna be here at this time. Like, okay, you need to get off work early so I can meet with you. So you need to tell your boss, like, you're getting off at 4 because I'm gonna only be in there right now. We got to get this to you. Like, that's my job. Like, I'm not serious about it. Like, no worries. When it comes to moving appointments around, I make my schedule work for me. I'm just very honest. I just say, hey, can I move this one to this time and move you to this time because I don't have to drive? It's going to take another hour, so I can make sure I can help this family. Is that cool? I'm just very respectful about it. And then just move your schedule so it works for you. And that's the part's easy. Just honesty is really key. You don't have to be a BSer. And when I was first taught from my original company, it was a lot of like BS, like a lot of like scammy stuff to kind of get someone to buy a policy. And in fact, Andrew Taylor stole a couple people from our last company And the original, the guy that left was like, Matt was trying to get me to come to Family First Life. He's like, hey, you got to check out some of these videos. And that was the first time I saw just honest selling. I was like, whoa, you can just be real? I didn't know this existed. I was just taught to be a BSer. This is pretty cool. And then it felt really good. So I just was like, okay, cool. So I always thought it was pretty dope that Family First Life was always just selling by being honest and caring about the client and just not having to use any lies. That's awesome. Just being straight up.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I'd love any final thoughts or anything, any insight you have just maybe for a new agent who's watching this and they're trying to figure out their next steps or the decision to push through, or give some advice.
Yeah. One final advice is, I remember coming in and trying to analyze everything. I'm one of those guys that loves to analyze. Go, there must be a different way, or I can tweak this and take the numbers and do this, and I'll try that. For example, I'd be getting leads, and I'm like, okay, if it's a hard book, medium book, easy book, and see if there's any correlation here, so I can kind of fine tune and find the maximum return on investment. And you know what I found out? It's all just random. It's all just random. A hard book's going to be an easy close. An easy close or an easy book is a hard close. It's just all random. So don't try to reinvent the wheel. I think a lot of people have their egos when they come into this, and I've tried to do a million experiments. Family First system works. The guys that are on the camera, it works. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making the amount of money they're doing. So all this really is be a copycat. Just copy it. Literally be an actor. Find a guy on YouTube you like, write down all the words, and just copy it. Just practice it, be an actor. You don't have to reinvent it. And I think I see so many agents come in here that have so much talent, especially the ones that could really do really well. Their ego gets in the way and they try to just do it a different way. And it's dude, you can try that later, but let's just follow the system that actually works right now and actually listen to your mentor and follow him. And then you can try some stuff out later. And then if it doesn't work, you can come back to it. So at least we know this one works. It's already proven. So why waste time on something that doesn't work?
Good, man. What's your goal now? 6 months or by convention? What's your goal?
I came over here to learn how to be a millionaire with you, man. What are you talking about?
We need to quantify it. We need to, convention in February. What's your agency goal?
I don't know. You tell me what does it take to make $1 million a year? And then we'll make that a goal. Because that's the goal.
Probably 1 to 1.2 to 1.5. But to overboard member, you're doing pretty gosh darn
good. So 1.5 million a month.
Yes.
So that's the goal.
You're clearly.
And then I want to ask you a question, because this is something that I struggle with. And it's something that you have a major skill set in. And I think a lot of people that come into this do struggle with this, and they get out of the business because of it. I think it's one of the hardest parts about being self-employed.
Okay.
I tend to be lazy sometimes. And I think a lot of people don't admit it, but yeah, it can be hard sometimes. You have a lot of self-discipline. What motivated you to go so fast, to get to 3 years and be at the level you were at? How do I learn how to get more self-motivated, have more self-discipline?
I was talking about a group earlier, and it's a line I learned from a mentor, and he taught me. He said that he's a highly successful guy. Millionaire plus, super successful in his 30s, had 4 kids, raised them, looked like he had a dream life. And one of the things he said to me, he's like, I'm one of the laziest people you'll ever meet, but I'll work 20 hours a day for 2 years just so I can go back to being lazy. And I don't think that I'm lazy in any way, shape, or form, but I look at FFL as there's get to sales manager, 50,000, get your logo, 100,000, get your VP bonus, then go to SVP, EVP, board member. Now the new line on the ladder is integrity partner. And if you know that there's 17 people at FFL that are now going to be integrity partners, 17, which means from stock to salary to big upfront check to earn out provisions, that these people are going to be multi-millionaires, deca-millionaires, as Andrew says now. If that's on the list now, right? And it's not like hope and dreams and, hey, I got to go recruit the proactive server, and maybe if I sign someone up for my protein powders, they'll get a couple gyms signed up in my, my pyramid deal. I need to go find 100 to 200 writing agents, 200 plus writing agents, and I can now transition from insurance agency owner to integrity partner. Well, then if that's what I need to do, then how does it start? Well, it starts with talking to as many people as possible, introducing what we have, giving away the comp, being a good example, selling a lot, teaching them how to dial, helping them get leads. And 10, 15,000 contracted agents that are selling each month at FFL means that there's 985,000 people in the United States with a life insurance license that don't work at FFL. So the thing that I would say to you would be to understand that have an end game of becoming a millionaire or earning $1 million or becoming an integrity partner, and then giving yourself permission to go as hard and fast as you can, and sacrificing vacations and sacrificing happy hours and sacrificing time with friends whom you love being around and whom you love enjoying with, and they're your buddies, right? I got a lot of buddies, but I had to give up time with my buddies for 2 years and time with my kids for 2 years to get this thing over the hump, and, built it to something that I never imagined. I didn't know this was at the end of the rainbow. I was just so, like, you've made money for a long period of time. You probably have some savings. You've been comfortable. Mm-hmm. I was so uncomfortable coming to FFL that, like, all of a sudden I was like, okay, I sell a policy and they give me $1,000. I was like, honey, we just made $982. She'd be like just silence. Like, it doesn't make any sense the kind of money we can make. And so once I got a taste of that, I was like, I just don't want to stop. I want to keep doing this as much as I possibly can. And then you turn and teach. So for people that are genuinely lazy or like to like to hit a level of success and soften up, then you just have to anchor bigger goals, right? Just like we talk to our agents about hooking yourself to the future, you have to hook yourself to the future, right? My goal is walking across stage at convention with our agency doing $10 million a month. Right now we're doing $4 million a month, right? So that's my goal, right? That's what I see in my head, in my heart. And, Jordan doing 5-6 million, Ashley doing 7-8 million, a bunch of other multi-million-dollar agencies. And how do I get there? I don't get there by chilling. And as I joke, sometimes I got 4 kids at home. If I'm not working 24/7, I'm changing diapers, right? So it's like, pick your evil, right? Right? Talk to agents all the time about growing a business and helping them with their financial futures, or going home and being dad. I mean, I love being dad, but I hold on. I love them both, right? I don't love, you know what I'm saying? I love my kids. I love everything I get to do. But that would be what I would say, dude, is that I would find something you want to accomplish, understand that there's a proven path. A proven path to get there. And if you just do the actions and just double and triple and quadruple down on the effort, you'll get there faster. Now, could you get there working 20, 30 hours a week? Probably not. Could you get there working 40, 50 hours a week? Probably not. Could you get there working 60, 70 hours a week? Yes. Could you get there faster working 70, 80? Of course. Could you get there faster working 90, 100 hours a week? Sleeping 6 hours a night, 7 days a week, straight, 24 months straight. Yes, and you'll inspire a ton of people. People will be excited to follow you. They'll be so proud to be on your team. And this is to you and to anybody who wants to accomplish something. You go set yourself on fire. People will travel for miles to watch you burn. And it's a very deep thing to think about. I never thought I could be some big leader in anything. I just wanted to be a guy who made his wife proud. Right. And somehow all of a sudden, we got a podcast table.
Yeah, that's what I was cracking up before we started. Like, look at you now,
So that's my thing, dude. You just, your goal is to become, I would quantify it more so than like, I just want to be a millionaire. I want to help, I want to help people. Like, if you make it just about you, then you give yourself an excuse. Right. Yeah. If you make it about something bigger, or maybe about buying something, or about being proud for your family, or being a good example for your son. Like, I try to take things and make them like my daughter's watching. Like, my sons are going to see these videos someday, and I want to make sure that I'm a good example for them. Like, I try to trick myself by going deeper and deeper. That it's not just if it's just about Grady, Grady's going to eat 5 slices of pizza, which you probably shouldn't do. And as good as that pizza is, I know I shouldn't do it. Yeah. But if all of a sudden the doctor goes, listen, if you eat 5 slices of pizza, you're going to die of a heart attack. I'm never eating pizza again, and it is kale for life, right? But because I don't want to miss out on life. But today, most people have to make decisions for things that are by far and wide outside of their own decisions, because we've decided to get to where we are. And we need something bigger and external to pull us, to make us go even farther. The
whys that aren't money. I think my why too, and tell me if this is bad or not, but I always thought, to get to a place where you're making, say, $1 million of income a year, the growth that you have to go through as a person, to get there, as far as how to talk to people, how to treat people. I think that's kind of cool too. Like, you really have to become a better human being. Yeah. In order to live in that type of club. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool too. But, when I was and this is a good thing to add, I had an agency, but I had a contract. So I had guys on my team and I was, making multiple six figures off of them. I was willing to give all that up to come work at Family First Life because I knew it would take me forever to build a team over there at the pace that they were going, the pace that I was going, right? Where I had all this extra people helping me out and the motivational factor over here, you're going to build it faster. So I gave it all up to start a new one here because I just know it's going to 10x it here.
Well, we're going to look back at this in 6 months, and if you haven't hit 1.5 million, we're going to shave your head, okay?
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Ryan, what's your phone number?
480-330-9573.
One more time for the people that write slow.
480-330-9573.
Perfect. If you like Ryan, you want to connect with them, work with them, reach out to him. He's a phenomenal trainer, phenomenal producer, and great guy to work with. Happy to have you here, bro. We're better with you.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. Talk soon. Bye for now.